First, it would sort of look a bit like a dragon, and then they'd have to kind of
take
the
out the outer
so then literally
layers.
you'd be watching your dragon, and it's like, we're just going to take its head off real quick, and then it would just be like eyes there, and you're like,
Two little
it's a family film? Okay.
Thank you so much for taking the time today. I got to tell you, the trilogy, the animated trilogy, I think it's perfect, and I've watched it every year with my family. So we were very excited for this. Did not disappoint.
Oh, thank you very much.
From the moment I first saw Toothless, I just cried the whole entire rest of the movie. So
Thank you.
I want to know, how hard was it really to bring Toothless to the screen in this version?
It was very it's trickier than you would think, because with the other dragons, we could depart from the cartoonier designs and lean into the animal references and make them feel like creatures of our world. But with Toothless, he has sort of a baked-in exaggeration in his features: big mouth, giant eyes, ear plates, a very Stitch-like head. And so as we tried to make him more realistic, make the eyes smaller, the mouth smaller, he stopped feeling like Toothless immediately. And so we thought, oh, let's not invite the ire of fans as we push Toothless into something that's more hyper-realistic. Retaining his personality is more important. Mm-hmm. And so we kind of leaned into his movement and his musculature and the iridescence of his scales and the panther-like qualities. But largely, he is a very expressive face and a very sentient personality. So hopefully we've found the right line.
Oh, absolutely. You absolutely did.
Thank you.
I do want to talk to you about certain key moments, and I'm sure you know exactly which ones that you guys really fully captured shot for shot. Can you talk about the importance of including that?
Yeah, for now that we can look back at the whole trilogy and the TV series and everything, we know that Forbidden Friendship, the moment where Hiccup and Toothless are drawing in the sand and touch, and we know that Test Drive, the first time that they really test out the flight rig and come detached, and those are iconic moments. They're the most important scenes, and they both happen to reside in that first movie. So we, from the start, wanted to recreate that as best we could, sort of honoring the fans, honoring the source, and just giving ourselves the challenge of can we bring out the same emotion and adrenaline by recreating those with live action tools.
Yeah, I mean, it's absolutely incredible. I want to talk about Mason and Nico real quick, because they're absolutely incredible. I feel like they are Hiccup and Astrid. What was it for you that made them just so perfect for these roles?
Well, with me, Nico and Mason, we kept doing chemistry reads where we would take our favorite Astrids and our favorite Hiccups and put them together and have them run scenes and just get a sense of who was playing well off of one another and how they were supporting one another and whether they were listening to one another. And Nico and Mason just sort of rose up among all the very strong candidates. We had some wonderful candidates for all roles, brought to us by Lucy Bevan. She was our casting director. But I think we all agreed. Like, I certainly felt really strongly about Nico and Mason together. And then we showed the studio, and they were like, yes, absolutely, they're electrifying. And so even though Astrid doesn't necessarily look like her counterpart, she embodies the essence of who that character is, better than anyone else that came in.
Yeah, and I got to ask you, so we had Gerard come back, which I think is amazing. Is there any chance Cate Blanchett will be in part 2, reprising her role? Because
Hope.
I feel like don't you think she would be great as live action?
Yeah. I wrote the role for Cate. Actually, that's my most Hollywood moment, is I walked up to her at the Oscars, and she was sipping a drink in her beautiful gown and her hair. It was before the ceremony started. And I said, I wrote a part for you in How to Train Your Dragon 2. And she had the best answer. She said, well, seeing as my boys are a fan of How to Train Your Dragon 1, we should talk.
I love it. Well, hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll see her in the live action one.
Yes, fingers crossed.
I love this movie so much. I love the animated, and I went into this like, I don't know what to expect, and then I cried almost the entire movie.
Yay.
So I want to know, for you guys, what do you think it is about this story and these, the animated movies and this movie that just resonates with people so much?
Oh gosh, I think it's such an amazing story about friendship, first and foremost. And I don't know, it's visually stunning. The music's incredible, from the animated to the live action, and I just think it's nice.
Yeah, but it's like it feels like a full world you're entering. Like you'll go to cinema and you'll be in Berk for those hours. I can't say exactly how many hours. I don't know how long it is, but for that many hours, and it feels so. And especially for people that loved the film before, like they want to go back to that world, and it's a world that's even more fully realised and even more 3D, and yeah, I think it will be special.
I think we've all been hiccup at some point in our lives where the person that we feel like we are isn't the person that everyone, or you feel that everyone wants you to be. You know, maybe just for a little bit as a kid, but I think we all have been that. And I think that is that merged with like ultimate wish fulfillment of riding a dragon. And it really gets to your heart quickly.
Yeah, the world feels so lived in, and they did a really good job at making sure, like, when you watch this film, it's like, yeah, I'm entering this world, I'm entering this, like, kind of, yeah, and like what Gabe said, it's like a childhood kind of dream, you know. I feel like as a young kid, you know, I had like either 3 personalities. It was like either a truck, a dinosaur, or a dragon. So, you know what I mean? And that's what my life was for like the next 3 years, you know. So, yeah, it's very much that, like living a childhood dream, you know, that you didn't even know you had.
What was it like? You guys literally ride dragons, and then you see yourself riding the dragons. Like, what was it like when you saw that footage, complete footage, for the first time?
That was mad because it feels like, I'll be honest, when we were doing it, because there is, even though most of the set and everything is very, you know, real and built, the dragons you have to do CGI. So I'd get on it and I'm like, oh, I just look a little silly. I'm like, oh my god, this
But
is
also,
so
do you remember they had
fast.
to keep on like kind of taking away? So at first it would sort of look a bit like a dragon, and then they'd have to like kind of like
Take out the
they'd like
outer
so then literally
layers.
you'd be watching your dragon, and it's like we're just gonna take its head off real quick, and then it would just be like eyes there, and you're like,
Two little like
it's a family film, okay.
stickers for their eyes.
Yeah.
So getting to actually watch it with everything being finished was just so like goosebumpy and very nice.
How about for you guys, seeing yourself riding a dragon?
Yeah, I think it was like the process of it, like, because you get the, like, you're kind of like a few, like, really high off the ground, you're like kind of harnessed into it, and you know, you kind of got to make it feel natural, and you also have to be safe, and there's all these guys with like these massive wind machines, and you know, you try to see the vision, you try to see it come to life, and then
Because it's
you know,
the
when you
first
watch
time
it.
for these guys too.
Yeah, as
isn't it?
well.
They're not used to it. I think there's other fantasy realms in which it's like it's a thing that people
Yes.
do. Like
Yeah.
we like the kids
We're
are the
so used
first
to
to do
killing
it.
them.
Yeah, and so like it was that, and it being like a wondrous thing for me as an actor, but then also being like it's his first time on something like this, and he's sort of losing his mind.
Yeah.
And like that, it was a lot of fun.
I forgot about the wind machines. They were so loud and so close.
Yeah.
So much
Yeah,
dust.
yeah,
Oh my
yeah.
gosh, I'm sure your eyes are like tearing up. You're
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I do want to know how excited are you guys to come back for the second one? I'm so excited they announced it. I was at CinemaCon when they announced it. I was going crazy. But for you guys, like, how excited are you to get back in costumes on set with each other?
Let's just hang out. It's
Yeah.
gonna be so
Yeah.
nice.
I feel very, very lucky. to
Yeah.
be able to-
Yeah.
Yeah.
And especially since it's like, if we get the second one, then maybe we get the third one. And then they do the TV series.
Yes.
But that's just for
Then,
you.
Yes,
and that's
yeah,
just me. But
It's
like,
just like a rough nut cooking show.
Yeah.
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 I'm into
Studio
that.
audience, it's
Yeah.
great.
But yeah, it's exciting.
How about for you?
Yeah, I don't know. I think I'm just excited for. I'm actually just excited for people to see the first one and to experience that and to enjoy it, and then, you know, when we continue this world and when we get to see where these characters go, and you know, we grow and we learn with them and we evolve with them. So I'm excited. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you can't have 2 without 3. Like, what are you
Right.
doing? So,
Yeah.
I feel like it's a shoo-in. Thank you so much for taking the time today. I really appreciate it.
Pleasure.
I absolutely love this movie. From the first moment we saw Toothless, I was crying the whole rest of the movie. I want to know, what do you think it is about How to Train Your Dragon in this story that resonates with people?
I think people loved the original animated films. And I think what Dean's done is and it doesn't happen that often. I'm trying to think of another case, but he hasn't messed it up. Do you know what I mean? Because I think a lot of people will watch a live action version of something which was much beloved and just say, nah, it's ruined. But this isn't that at all. I think he's added to the history of it, and I think through the performances of the teens and of Gerard, and especially of Mason and Toothless, you know, he's just added and deepened the lore, if you know what I mean.
And your performance.
And well, it's not for me to say.
Well, you're
I'll
incredible.
praise the others. Thank you. Yeah, I think he's done a really clever thing, and I think part of that is not being afraid to enjoy and use the skills of the other actors in terms of, because I know all of them would come up to Dean every day or to me or to Gerard and say, hey, I've had this idea. Should we try this? Or this line's pretty good. And Dean was like, yeah, let's give it a go. You know, if it was better or funnier or something happened during an improv that I see made the edit, you know. And that's, I think that says a lot about as a performer being trusted, which I think is a really nice place to work and to perform, you know.
It's nice to have a collaborative experience.
100%, you know, and I've been on things where you pitch something, they're like, no, and it just makes you not want to do anything else, and it makes you afraid to try anything, which I think is the one of the beautiful things of my job is the ability to play and to try things, you know.
Yeah. Now, I love how the dragons came out in here, and obviously you're not working against full dragons,
Aren't
right?
we?
I mean, what was your reaction when you saw the finished product, I will say?
Well, it's amazing. I think because my question to Dean throughout the process was, how are you going to take something which was animated and which everyone saw was animated and turn it into something which is now not animated? What's the difference? How are you going to show that difference? And he's done that, because I think and I think this says a lot about Bill Pope's photography and the way it was lit and the kind of genius of the effects team, where they look like animals. They look like animals, you know. They look like they're made of skin and flesh and wings, and it's really, I've never really seen anything quite as realistic, really, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I'm immediately like, oh my God, Toothless is like my dog.
Yes,
you know?
yeah, exactly. Yeah, he looks real.
Yeah, and I'm really excited for the next one. I'm so happy that you've already announced it.
Great.
Are you excited to come back?
I cannot wait.
Have you seen any scripts yet, or?
No, I mean, I think I watched the second animated film because that's how I got the first animated film. I watched that and I was like, okay, I'll probably be shooting this amount of time.
Yeah.
So you can kind of ascertain how much you're going to be in the process from how much you were in the original animated film.
Thank you both so much for taking the time today. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for coming.
So this animated trilogy is like my all-time favorite. I watch it every year with my family. So I was nervous going into this, and you guys absolutely knock it out of the park. Like, I cried almost the entire movie.
Yes.
Like from the first time I saw Toothless, I was like,
That's what we want.
We're so sadistic. Like, cry.
yes.
You better cry.
Give us the tears. But what does it mean for you guys to, become such beloved characters and to really just embody them?
I mean, like you were saying, we love these movies so much, and it was my childhood. I was Hiccup for Halloween as a kid, and going into it, I really just wanted to, for myself and the other people who love, the character of Hiccup in this world, I really wanted to do it justice and step into those shoes, and I really hope, people like it. But yeah,
Fingers crossed.
yeah, fingers crossed. But yeah.
It's just, it is, it will never not be surreal, I think, getting to play your childhood idol, I think, is just absolutely ridiculous. And it is something that is rare, and something that I don't think either of us take for granted. And the fact that we now get to be here and get to talk about it kind of freely, which we didn't for a while, is really special, because it is... this movie truly, Mason says it all the time, but it's such a love letter to the original, and it feels really wonderful that we kind of get to speak about it and make sure everyone knows that. Because I think sometimes with live actions, people kind of just assume that it's actually coming from a place of everything's going to change and everything needs to be different, and when actually our movie is
broken.
We're all obsessed.
It's made not broken.
No,
there we go. Yep,
we're all this movie's made by fans, truly made by like die-hard fans. We're all absolute geeks in that way, and I think that you can feel it when you watch it, or I'd hope you can feel it. So that's like my ideal kind of what people would see when they watch it.
Fake was broken.
Nice. Words of wisdom.
Yeah,
this is the new childhood hero.
You got there.
Yeah.
Like, he's the best role model. He's a dummy.
Yeah, Fake was broken.
I think that was helpful having Dean involved too, though, right? Because he's obviously was such a big part of the animated one, so he loved it as well. I do want to talk to you guys about these costumes, these sets. Like, what was it like just being in this?
I mean, it was awesome. I mean, just the first costume fitting and, being in that flight harness and seeing myself as my childhood hero. I mean, it meant everything to me. And the fact that, you know, we had practical sets and the costumes were amazing, and, you know, it was so easy to be transported into that world. And, you know, after watching the movie and seeing it on a giant screen, it really feels like you're in there and with those people and feeling the cold and feeling the heat of the dragons. It's awesome.
It was like the most realized version of this filming process that it could have been. I think we were like very much immersed into that world from very early on. But, you know, I remember kind of seeing all of us for the first camera test. I remember seeing us all in the most finalized version of costume and hair and makeup and weaponry that we had at that time, and it was like a bit before we'd actually started filming. And I remember looking at all of us and just being like, I cannot believe it was.
I know she walked out and her Astra was like the blue one with shoulder pads, and I was like, damn, she looks like a princess. It's crazy.
Cutie.
It was so sick.
But,
I do want to say I'm going to Epic Universe in July.
Oh,
and I know you
it's
guys went.
so Yeah.
So
fun.
tell me, what do I need to eat? What do I need to do?
Okay. We didn't really have time to eat any of the food
the
there, so
popcorn's
try
really
and let
nice
us know.
though. The popcorn was really Reese had it. The popcorn was so yummy.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, it was kind of normal.
But that's
popcorn.
kind of boring. But apparently
Normal
we didn't get
popcorn.
around to it because we didn't have time. But there's like
Yeah.
a cone of like pretzel and
Oh,
like mac
it
and
looks
cheese.
so
It
good.
looked amazing. We didn't have time to do it, but if you have the time, I'd recommend
Do
it.
it for me. I'll live vicariously through you.
I would
But,
say
the
Isle
rides,
of Berk is the best one.
Isle of Berk is the best one.
Perfect.
Maybe I'm biased, but
Love it.
it was really fun. Go on. What was the ride we went on?
Hiccups Wing Gliders.
What she said. That
Hiccups
one
Wing
is
Gliders
awesome.
in Isle of Berk is really, really fun.
Yeah.
And also, like, they have a toothless in. It's just, like, really cool if you love the movies.
You
and
gotta
you get
go
to
and see
see
it. It's
all
great.
of Berk
Yeah.
through that ride. But the one that was kind of crazy is the, what's it called? There's, like, a big one, and it's 2 roller coasters
That wasn't
adjacent
one,
to
that
each
one
other.
wasn't in Berk, but
But it was in Epic Universe
yeah.
in the, like, celestial
What was it
one.
called?
Oh,
And
I know what
it's-
you're talking about.
That
And
one.
it's 2 roller coasters adjacent to each other. And
That
that
one.
one, nice.
That was one. Thanks.
And that one is crazy. Me
Yeah.
and Mason did it, and I just want to say, both sides of the ride you can do, because they're both slightly different. There's the yellow one and the green one. The green one is a bit better because it's faster and less bumpy. But Mason made me do it twice, back to back,
I did not
and I
make her do it.
genuinely,
That you know that's
I
not true.
am old and with it at this point because I could not.
I know she was walking out. She's like, "Give me my cane." I was like, "It'll be fine."
I couldn't do it.
She was broken.
But that I would say is mine. But it's really fun. It's really, really fun. It's also boiling hot, so maybe.
Yeah,
like, a
I know. In
water
July, it's
spray
not
or
going to be
something.
even better. Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations. I love
Thank
this movie. I can't
you.
wait for
Thank
the
you
second
so
one.
much.
Thank you so much for taking the time today. I love this movie. I love the animated. And then I feel like this brings so much more to it, but it's the same story, but you get a little bit more in depth. For you, what was it like to revisit Stoic in this way in live action?
It was. I'd always wondered making the animated movies. What would it like to actually be Stoic? You know, not just the voice, but to actually have to, you know, be that size, step into that world. So when I heard that we were doing this, it felt like a great opportunity, and I was sad. I missed, you know, I missed playing Stoic, but I also figured if we're going to do this, we could really up it a level. And it's like you say, a lot of people go, "Oh, but I love the animated." Nobody says, but when you're in this movie, you're not thinking about the animated. It's so its own beast, and you're in there like, wow. And that's what I hoped. Like, what if we could take it to another level and entrance the doubters, if you like, you know, like have them kind of go, well, I wanted to bitch, but in actual fact, this is powerful. And what a chance to make it so much more emotional as well and really go deep into that. So I think it hits you powerfully in the gut, but you also have this incredible cinematic experience that, you know, just every time I see it, I'm like, oh my God, I'm very proud of what Dean did with the movie.
Yeah, I mean, it's absolutely amazing. I love how beautiful it is. What was it like for you to get to step onto those sets? Like, you're basically stepping into an animated movie that you were in.
Yeah, well, you got no excuse to get it wrong. You're like, they gave me an amazing costume as long as I can hold. Because the costume was really intense. I'm not going to lie. I mean, it was tough to get it on. It was heavy as hell. But when I stood up, I was stoic. You know, I felt like completely transformed. I felt more stoic than Jerry when I was in that costume on those sets. And the first day I walked around those sets, I was like, wow. I mean, we built not even a city. We built a city, but we also built a harbor. We built Dragon Island. We built, you know, huge Viking longships and great halls that were like mini skyscrapers. I mean, it was amazing to be a part and be surrounded by hundreds of Vikings, and even the dragons were built, you know, like a lot of them were built like kind of puppetry wise. So even that, there was no tennis ball acting going on. You were performed by puppeteers, and that actually was surprisingly present and immediate and emotional to perform these brilliant puppeteers.
And then you got to go to Epic Universe, right, and see like the Isle of Berk. What was that like?
I mean, I was, it was surreal and amazing. I mean, they did a wonderful job with the park. I mean, the imagination you are, again, stepping into another world. It's so charming. And it's not every day you get to. I mean, no joke. A couple of days before, my different friends, where are you? And I'm like, or what are you doing? I'm just going to Orlando to open my theme park. Calling it my theme park, you know. But to open a theme park, and it's not. Growing up as a boy in Paisley, Scotland, I didn't think that was something I was going to be saying in future years. You know, going to open a theme park.
I'm going in July. I'm very excited.
It's great.
I did ask Dean if there was a chance of Cate Blanchett coming in of the second one, and he said there's a possibly, knock on wood, good chance. How would you like to act opposite her?
Oh, I'd love to work. She's amazing. I mean, I can't imagine in this planet, if you ask anybody about Cate Blanchett, how anybody couldn't say anything other than, wow, she's incredible. And I saw a note that she'd sent in saying that she really enjoyed the movie, and it felt like she thoroughly enjoyed it. So that's, like you say, knock on wood, that she'll be there for the second, because it's such a beautiful relationship between Valka and Stoic. So it would be amazing for it to be Cate.
Yeah, amazing. Well, I hope so. So fingers crossed.
Yeah.
I can't wait for the second one.